Have you ever just looked at a plant, I mean really looked, and thought, how does it do that? It's like nature has this hidden blueprint, right? A secret code that arranges petals on a flower or seeds in a sunflower with this beautiful, almost perfect precision. Well, today, we're decoding that blueprint. We're diving into the algorithm of botany.
So let's just jump right in. Why is nature so good at math? I mean, take a pine cone, a pineapple, or the head of a sunflower. You see these mesmerizing spiral patterns. And here's the thing, they aren't random at all. They're incredibly ordered, following these strict mathematical rules. This isn't some happy accident. It's a solution to a problem that plants have been solving for millions of years. And the answer is just so elegant.
Okay, here's our first clue, 137.5 degrees. It sounds super specific, doesn't it? Well, this is the golden angle. And why this exact angle? Because it's nature's perfect solution for efficient growth. It makes sure that every new leaf or every new seed gets the maximum amount of sunlight and air with the least amount of overlap. It is literally the ultimate packing algorithm, and plants figured it out millions of years ago. And clue number 2. You probably know this one. It's the famous Fibonacci sequence, where each number is just the sum of the two before it. Now go back to that sunflower. If you actually count the spirals winding clockwise, and then count the ones going counterclockwise, get this, the totals will almost always be 2 Fibonacci numbers right next to each other, like 34 and 55. That is not a coincidence. No way. So we have a magic angle and a magic number sequence. But the real question is, why do they show up together?
This brings us to our first section. We're officially on a quest to understand these secret numbers. We're going to figure out the underlying mechanism that produces this incredible mathematical harmony we see all over the plant world.
And yes, there's a word for this whole phenomenon, phyllotaxis. It's the scientific study of how plants arrange their parts. And for centuries, botanists and mathematicians have been completely obsessed with it. They saw these repeating patterns as a kind of living crystal, something that was growing and organizing itself with this stunning regularity. Which leads us to a true scientific detective story, because this puzzle, it is not new. Scientists have been trying to crack the code of phyllotaxis for over 2,000 years. It's a real cold case. I mean, people have been scratching their heads about this for ages. The ancient Greeks noticed these patterns. By the 18th and 19th centuries, scientists like the Bravais brothers were throwing some serious math at the problem to describe them. But a full explanation? It just wasn't there. The contemporary period, though, from 1970 onwards, that's where things get really exciting, because researchers from totally different fields started to jump into the hunt. For a long, long time, the debate was pretty much split between two main camps. On one side, you had Team Mechanical. The idea here is that new leaves literally grow and physically push each other into the most efficient packing arrangement. Simple physics. On the other side, you had Team Chemical. They argued that existing leaves release a chemical signal, an inhibitor, that basically tells a new leaf, hey, don't grow too close to me. And look, both theories made a lot of sense, but neither one could fully explain how these super precise mathematical patterns emerged so consistently. The real answer, as it turns out, was going to come from a completely different direction. The real breakthrough came from a place nobody was really looking, not from botany, not from physics, but from the brand new world of theoretical computer science. It was a new kind of grammar, not for writing words, but for building life itself. So picture this, it's 1968, and a biologist named Aristid Lindenmayer comes along with this revolutionary idea. He wanted to create a formal mathematical way to describe how organisms develop. He wasn't even trying to solve phyllotaxis, but his work would end up being the key. He called it an L system. Now think of it like grammar for a language, but with one massive, crucial difference. In a normal grammar, you apply one rule at a time, sequentially. But in an L system, you apply the rules to every single character in the string, all at the same time, in parallel. And that was brilliant, because that's how life actually grows. All the parts develop simultaneously. So how does it work? Well, it's surprisingly simple. You start with an initial string, that's your seed. Then you define a few simple rules for growth, that's the DNA. The system then just applies these rules over and over again to the entire structure, all at once. And in just a few steps, this simple, repetitive process generates a really complex blueprint for a whole organism. And just like that, a whole new field was born, algorithmic botany. The idea that you could model the incredibly complex forms of life with simple iterative rules was a total game changer. It was the first time someone really connected the code of life, DNA, with the code of computers. Okay, so now we have the tool. We have a way to generate complexity from simple rules applied in parallel. The next obvious step was to see if this abstract idea could actually grow realistic-looking plants and maybe, just maybe, solve our ancient mystery. Przemysław Prusinkiewicz, a real pioneer in this field, he posed the question directly. And the answer, as he put it, was a resounding yes. The moment researchers started plugging L systems into computer graphics, the results were, well, they were astonishing. This is the aha moment. This is where it all clicks into place. The computer takes that abstract string of letters and translates it into simple drawing commands. Move forward, turn left 137.5 degrees, grow a new branch. By following these instructions, the computer could literally draw a plant one step at a time based entirely on the L system's code. And here's the incredible payoff. When they ran these simple L system models, the computer-generated plants weren't just lifelike. They naturally, without being told to, started showing Fibonacci spirals. And that golden angle, 137.5 degrees, it popped up automatically. The puzzle was solved. There wasn't some master plan. The simple local rule of grow in the next available spot, when you repeat it over and over, it mathematically converges on the golden angle as the most efficient solution. It's an emergent property. This beautiful order just arises from simple local actions. Incredible. But hold on, this story doesn't end there. Because if this simple principle of self-organization works for plants, you have to ask, where else might we find it? And that brings us to our final section, a universal pattern. It turns out this isn't just botany's algorithm. It's one of nature's favorite algorithms, period. These same patterns, generated by the exact same principles of local interaction and self-organization, they show up in places you would never, ever expect. I mean, scientists have found these patterns in the way amino acids arrange themselves into proteins, the building blocks of us. Physicists see them in the behavior of superconductors. In one fascinating experiment, researchers dropped magnetized ferrofluid droplets into a dish, and the drops just automatically arranged themselves into perfect Fibonacci spirals, simply by repelling each other. From the microscopic world of biology to the exotic realm of physics, the same mathematical harmony just emerges. Which leaves us with a pretty profound final thought. A simple set of rules for local growth, repeated over and over, gives rise to the same elegant patterns in plants, in proteins, and in physics. So, if the fundamental building blocks of our world all organize themselves using a similar algorithm, what does that tell us about the very fabric of reality? It suggests that complexity and beauty aren't always designed from the top down. Sometimes they just emerge, inevitably, from the simplest of rules.